Is it safe to travel to India right now? This is one of the most important questions you can ask before planning a trip to a country as vast and complicated as India. And it's a question I hear more often than almost any other, because India has a way of stirring something in people, a mix of curiosity and hesitation, wonder and caution. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. Over the last 27 years, I've worked in industrial safety and risk management, and I've spoken with countless travelers who dream of standing beneath the Taj Mahal, tasting fresh cardamom in the markets of Kochi, or watching the sunrise over the ghats in Varanasi. But before you can fully open yourself to the experience, you have to be prepared for the realities. India is not a destination you simply arrive in and expect it to feel familiar. It challenges you with its scale, its energy, and the unfiltered nature of daily life. It is noisy, colorful, crowded, and sometimes overwhelming, but it is also deeply rewarding, layered with history and spirituality that you can feel in every encounter. In this video, we're going to talk honestly about what it means to visit India in 2025. I'll share what you need to know about health and hygiene, safety for women and LGBTQ+ travelers, and the social dynamics that can shape how you're received. We'll also look at what the major government travel advisories say, so you can make your decision with clarity and confidence. And stay with me until the end, because I'll share something surprising about India, something that even frequent travelers sometimes overlook, but which can completely transform how you experience your time there. Let's begin with the first thing every traveler should understand. India is not one place. It's more like a collection of worlds stitched together. The experience you have in Mumbai will feel nothing like the experience you have in a small Himalayan village. Delhi's chaotic traffic and dense markets are an entirely different rhythm from the laid-back beaches of Goa or the quiet backwaters of Kerala. This diversity is part of the magic. But it also means that safety can vary from one region to another. In most of India's major cities, violent crime against tourists is uncommon. The overwhelming majority of visits happen without serious incident. That said, petty crime is an issue you should expect. Pickpocketing, bag snatching, and scams are realities in crowded places like train stations, tourist sites, and markets. If you've never traveled in South Asia before, the sheer press of people can feel intimidating. But once you learn how to move through it, keeping your valuables secure, being cautious with strangers who approach offering unsolicited help, it becomes more manageable. Health and hygiene are two areas where India requires more preparation than many destinations. The old advice still holds true: don't drink tap water. Even in luxury hotels, it's recommended to stick to sealed bottled water for drinking and brushing your teeth. Waterborne illnesses remain common, and they are one of the quickest ways to ruin your trip. Food safety deserves the same attention. Indian cuisine is spectacular, layered with spices and traditions that will stay with you long after you return home. But it can also be a source of illness if you're not careful. Many travelers experience some digestive upset simply because the food is richer and prepared differently than what they're used to. But more serious illnesses, such as salmonella or parasites, can occur if you eat food that has been improperly stored or handled. The best approach is to choose restaurants and food stalls that are busy and have high turnover. Freshly cooked, piping hot dishes are safer than items that have been sitting out. In rural areas, take extra care. And always wash your hands or use sanitizer before eating. It's also important to be up to date on routine vaccinations before you travel. Your doctor may recommend additional vaccines depending on your itinerary, such as hepatitis A and typhoid. If you'll be spending time in more remote areas, malaria prophylaxis may be advised. India's healthcare system is vast and varies widely in quality. In big cities, private hospitals offer excellent care, but public facilities in rural areas can be under-resourced. Comprehensive travel insurance that includes medical evacuation is strongly recommended. One of the most sensitive subjects when discussing safety in India is how travelers are perceived based on their gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation. These realities are important to understand because they can shape your experience in ways that aren't always predictable. For women, India can be both welcoming and challenging. Many solo female travelers visit without major issues and come away with incredible stories of hospitality. But it's also true that harassment in public spaces, particularly in crowded areas, does happen. Staring is common, and while it is often simply curiosity, it can sometimes feel intrusive. Catcalling or unwanted attention can occur, especially if you're alone at night or dressed in ways that are perceived as revealing. Many women find that dressing conservatively, covering shoulders and legs, reduces this kind of attention. Staying in reputable accommodations, using registered taxis or ride-hailing apps, and avoiding isolated areas after dark are all sensible precautions. Trust your instincts. If a situation feels uncomfortable, remove yourself from it. For LGBTQ+ travelers, the picture is also mixed. India decriminalized same-sex relationships in 2018, a historic decision that was widely celebrated. In larger cities, you'll find growing LGBTQ+ communities and spaces where people can express themselves more freely. But social attitudes are still conservative in many areas, especially in rural regions. Public displays of affection, regardless of orientation, are generally frowned upon. Discretion is recommended if you are traveling with a partner. Travelers of color will find that India is a place where people will often stare, ask questions, or show curiosity about where you come from. These encounters can feel awkward, but are usually not hostile. However, there are reports of discriminatory attitudes toward African travelers in some cities, particularly in situations involving landlords or taxi drivers. As in many places, patience and clear communication can help diffuse misunderstandings. Religious identity can also affect your experience, especially if you are visibly Muslim or Jewish. While India is officially secular and home to many faiths, tensions between communities occasionally flare up. The vast majority of visitors never encounter problems, but it's wise to monitor local news and avoid demonstrations or politically charged gatherings. The U.S. State Department currently advises travelers to exercise increased caution in India due to crime and terrorism. It also notes that some regions, particularly Jammu and Kashmir and areas along the India-Pakistan border, have a higher risk profile and should be avoided altogether. Global Affairs Canada echoes these warnings and highlights the importance of personal security in crowded places. The UK Foreign Office emphasizes that protests and strikes can disrupt travel and sometimes turn confrontational. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade provides similar guidance, reminding visitors to remain aware of local developments. All of this can sound intimidating, but here's the truth. Millions of people visit India every year, and most return with nothing but stories of wonder. They remember the color and movement of the streets, the way a cup of chai tastes when you drink it watching the sunrise, and the warmth of people who go out of their way to help. India is an experience that asks something of you. It asks for patience, humility, and an openness to being surprised. You can't control every variable, but you can prepare yourself, respect the culture, and learn how to move with the current instead of fighting it. So is it safe to travel to India? The most honest answer is that it depends on you. If you do your research, stay aware of your surroundings, and approach each day with respect and curiosity, you're likely to have a journey that expands your sense of what's possible. But if you come expecting it to feel like home, or assuming that everything will be easy, you may find yourself frustrated. And now, here's the surprise I promised you. Despite everything, despite the headlines and the complexities, India has been named one of the world's top destinations for solo travelers, retirees, and digital nomads. From Goa to Kerala, there are communities of people who came for a few weeks and stayed for months or even years. They'll tell you the same thing, that India teaches you to see the world and yourself with new eyes. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone considering a trip to India. And stay tuned for my upcoming videos where I'll dive deeper into specific regions and help you travel with knowledge, care, and confidence. Until next time, stay curious, stay prepared, and remember, safety is your travel superpower.